Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. Warmly welcome all of you to the new episode. Before proceeding further with the story, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you receive notifications for every new video. So, let's begin today's story. About 10 years ago, Neha was married to a man from Chhattisgarh. On January 30th, 2021, at around 9:30 p.m., Akash called his sister Neha. Her phone was ringing, but she did not answer. Akash tried several times, but Neha still did not receive the call. He became worried as he had no idea where Neha was at that time. Then Akash called his brother-in-law Tarun. Tarun informed Akash that he had gone to his village, and his younger brother Indrajit had also gone somewhere. At this time, only Neha and her 9-year-old daughter Ananya, also known as Pihu, were at home. Akash wondered why Neha was not picking up the phone if she was at home. He had called multiple times, but she never answered. When he informed his family members, everyone in the house was shocked. Akash lived in Karora village of Raipur district, while Neha's in-laws' house was in Kari town, about 40 kilometers away. Concerned, Akash decided to go to Neha's in-laws' house. He got into his car and left immediately. After about an hour, he reached the bungalow where Neha lived. It was a luxurious home, as she had married into a politically influential family. However, when Akash arrived, he found the main gate locked. He wondered why the gate was locked and called Neha's phone again from outside. Her phone kept ringing, but she still did not answer. Tarun had told Akash that only Neha and Ananya were at home, but the locked gate suggested otherwise. Akash inquired with the neighbors if they had seen Neha leave, but they were unaware of her whereabouts. He informed them that he had been trying to call Neha since 10 p.m., but she was not answering. The neighbors mentioned that Neha never left the bungalow alone like this. Something seemed wrong. Soon, a crowd gathered outside the bungalow. Someone suggested breaking the lock on the gate to check inside. With the help of others, Akash broke the lock and entered. Inside the bungalow, everything seemed normal, except for Neha's bedroom, which was locked. This raised suspicion. Why was only Neha's room locked while the rest of the house was open? Akash broke the lock to her room as well. As soon as he entered, he found 2 men inside. One of them was Dr. Anand Rai, Neha's brother-in-law, while the other was a stranger. Akash and the others had no idea who this person was. The presence of these men in Neha's locked bedroom was highly suspicious. Seeing Akash and the others, the expressions of Anand Rai and his companion changed. When questioned, they failed to give a proper explanation and instead tried to escape. Suspicious, the crowd caught hold of them. Feeling that something was definitely wrong, people began searching the room. When they opened the bed box, they found the lifeless bodies of Neha and her daughter, Ananya, lying face down inside. Shocked and horrified, the crowd immediately realized that these 2 men were likely responsible for the murders. Someone called the police station and reported that the daughter-in-law and granddaughter of former Minister D.P. Ghritlahare had been murdered in the bungalow. Since the case involved a high-profile family, the police responded quickly. Station in charge Mamta Sharma, along with head constable Vedvyas and officers Bachan Singh Thakur and Tikam Singh, rushed to the crime scene, which was only a kilometer away. SP Ajay Yadav was also informed about the double murder. Upon arrival, the police found the 2 men detained by the crowd and Neha's and Ananya's bodies inside the bed box. Witnesses explained that they had broken the lock to Neha's room and found the 2 men sitting inside. During initial interrogation, the police discovered that one of the suspects was Dr. Anand Rai, a close relative of the deceased. Angry at the horrifying crime, the crowd began to beat both suspects. Fearing that they might be lynched, the police struggled to free them from the mob and took them into custody. They were immediately taken to the police station. Shortly after, fingerprint experts, a police photographer, and SP Ajay Yadav arrived at the scene. SP Yadav tried to calm the furious crowd. Upon inspecting the crime scene, it was evident that Neha had fiercely resisted her attackers before her death. There were scratch marks on her face and body. Police officers collected evidence and examined the surroundings closely. When they spoke to Akash, He explained that he had arrived and found the bungalow gate locked. The horrifying chain of events left everyone shocked as the police launched their investigation into the brutal double murder. The house was locked. When he broke the lock and came inside, he saw that Neha's bedroom was also locked from the outside. When the lock of the room was broken, Neha's brother-in-law, Dr. Anand Rai, and another person were found sitting with her. He suspected that both of them had a hand in the murder of his sister and niece. At that time, the deceased Neha's husband, Tarun, was not at home. Hence, the police suspected that he had a hand in his wife's murder. Akash had given information about this double murder to his brother-in-law, Tarun, over the phone. Tarun came home after some time. When he came to know that Anand Rai and another person were found sitting near Neha's dead body, he also believed that Anand Rai must have murdered his wife and daughter. He expressed this suspicion to the police. Although Tarun was blaming his brother-in-law, Anand Rai, for the murder of his wife, in the eyes of the police, Tarun was also a suspect. SP Ajay Yadav ordered the station in charge to keep an eye on Tarun so that he does not escape. The news of the murder spread in Raipur city within a short time. People gathered outside Tarun's bungalow. As a precaution, the police made heavy security arrangements there. Looking at the marks on the necks of both the dead bodies, it seemed that both of them were murdered by strangulation. The question of who committed the murder and why could be answered only after an investigation. After completing the necessary action on the spot, the police sent both the bodies to the hospital for post-mortem. After that, the police took both the persons for questioning. The police also took the deceased's husband, Tarun, to the police station. Among the two people who were taken into custody after being freed from the clutches of the people, one was the deceased's maternal uncle, Dr. Anand Rai, while the other was Anand Rai's nephew, Deepak Sai Tode. When the police inquired about the murder of Neha and her daughter, both of them kept declaring themselves innocent. However, under police interrogation, they admitted that they did not commit the murder. Instead, they claimed that Ajay Rai, the second brother-in-law of Tarun and Anand Rai's real brother, was responsible. Ajay was an engineer by profession. When the police searched for him, Ajay was not found at home. Under the direction of SP Ajay Yadav, police teams started searching for him. Dr. Anand Rai and Deepak Sai maintained during interrogation that they had gone there at the behest of Ajay Rai. However, the police felt that they were still lying and interrogated them further. On February 1st, 2021, both were presented in court and taken on a 5-day police remand. Meanwhile, several police teams were searching for the absconding engineer, Ajay Rai. A freelance team was also conducting an investigation. During this time, it was learned that Ajay had switched on his mobile phone near the first bypass of Prayagraj city in Uttar Pradesh. Based on this clue, a team from the crime branch reached Prayagraj from Raipur, where Ajay's phone location was traced to a highway shop owned by a puncture repairman. The police showed the shop owner a photo of Ajay. As soon as he saw it, he recognized him, stating that a person resembling Ajay had used his phone to call someone a day or two ago. This information gave Raipur police a breakthrough in the investigation. The shop owner checked his phone and provided the police with the number that was dialed. Upon investigation, the number was found to belong to Shiv Prakash, a resident of Sultanganj in Ayodhya district, Uttar Pradesh. The police team then traveled to Ayodhya. With the help of the local police, Raipur police reached Shiv Prakash's house. There, they arrested Ajay Rai on February 4, 2021. It was revealed that Shiv Prakash was a close friend of Ajay Rai. Shiv Prakash had a criminal background and had recently served a jail sentence for smuggling ganja. However, Shiv Prakash himself was not found at home. When Ajay Rai was brought back to Raipur, he saw that his brother, Dr. Anand Rai, and nephew, Deepak, were in police custody. He understood that they must have confessed everything to the police. When the police interrogated Ajay Rai about the murder of Neha and her daughter, Ananya, he accused his brother, Anand, and nephew, Deepak, of the crime. For some time, they kept blaming each other. But when the interrogation became more intense, the truth was revealed. It was discovered that all three had planned the murder of Neha and her husband. After interrogating the three accused, the story behind this double murder emerged, and it was shocking. Kamhar town, in the Raipur district of Chhattisgarh, has a bungalow belonging to a prominent politician, D.P. Ghritlahare, near Satnam Chowk. D.P. Ghritlahare was a well-known personality and the forest minister in the government of Chhattisgarh. He had 2 wives. From his first wife, Vasantha, he had a daughter, Shashi Prabha. From his second wife, Prabha Devi, he had 4 children, including 2 daughters and 2 sons, Tarun and Indrajit. He arranged marriages for both of his daughters. One daughter was married to a well-known doctor in the city, Anand Rai, while the second daughter was married to Anand Rai's brother, Ajay Rai. Ajay Rai was an engineer. Both his daughters were married into wealthy families, and hence both were happy. His son, Tarun, was eligible for marriage. When the time came, he got him married to Neha, a resident of Karora village in the same district. Neha was also from a wealthy family. Her father was a landlord. Neha was highly educated and intelligent. As soon as she came to her in-laws' house, she took over all the household responsibilities. Both the sons-in-law of D.P. Ghritlahare were highly educated and prosperous, but they were greedy. They would steal money or expensive items from their in-laws under various pretexts. The minister had immense wealth, which made both sons-in-law keep an eye on his property. On April 19, 2020, D.P. Ghritlahare passed away. After his death, everyone in the house was deeply saddened, but Tarun's aunt, Kuni Bai, was the most worried. This was because both of Tarun's sisters were eyeing the property like vultures. Kuni Bai feared that the sons-in-law would take away the wealth her brother had accumulated. Kuni Bai had about 17 acres of agricultural land. She had made Tarun the legal caretaker of this property. Tarun's wife, Neha, treated her sisters-in-law with kindness and frequently gave them gifts, yet they were never satisfied. Anand Rai and engineer Ajay Rai often discussed this matter with their wives. They would complain, saying, "Despite everything, your brother and sister-in-law do not even think about us. Everyone knows that daughters have rights in their father's property. Then why is there discrimination?" Both sisters began to believe their husbands were right. Silently, they supported their husbands' intentions. Greed had taken root in the minds of Anand Rai and Ajay Rai regarding the property. Neha saw through their greedy intentions. Ajay and Anand repeatedly tried to manipulate Neha, but she did not fall for their words. She confided everything to her aunt, Kuni Bai. Neha had decided that she would not allow the sisters-in-law to take over the property. Anand and Ajay became frustrated when Neha did not fall into their trap. Then a new thought struck them. If they couldn't manipulate Neha, why not trap Tarun and force him to sell the property? They started influencing Tarun, who, after falling for their persuasion, agreed to sell his property. As a result, Ajay Rai, Anand Rai, and Tarun started spending more time together. When Neha noticed this sudden closeness, she realized that Tarun had been manipulated. She began keeping a close watch on them. One day, when all three were sitting in a room discussing the sale of the property, Neha secretly listened from behind the curtain. She knew that if she stayed silent now, all the property would be taken away. Determined, she stepped out from behind the door and entered the drawing room. As soon as Neha arrived, silence filled the room. Seeing Neha, Ajay Rai immediately changed the topic, but the expressions on their faces gave everything away. Pretending to be unaware, Neha said, "Why do you all look so nervous? You've been spending a lot of time with Tarun lately. What's the reason?" Ajay tried to dismiss her concerns, saying, "Oh, it's nothing. After a long time, brother-in-law and I were just having a friendly chat." Neha was not convinced. "Before I arrived, you were discussing something about selling the property, weren't you? If I'm wrong, then please clarify," she said firmly. Realizing that Neha had figured everything out, they exchanged uneasy glances. Ajay then spoke up. "Neha, since you're asking, let me tell you, we have found a buyer willing to pay a great price for this bungalow. We won't get such an opportunity again. It would be wise to sell it. With the money, we can invest in land, build luxurious flats, and make a huge profit." Neha replied sarcastically, "That sounds like a great idea. Why don't both of you sell your own property and invest? You will make millions." She continued, I respect both of you as my brothers-in-law, but let me make it clear, no property will be sold. In the future, do not bring up such schemes again." Hearing this, Anand Rai and Ajay's faces turned red with anger. They felt insulted. It was late at night, so they left without saying another word. After reaching home, they complained to their wives about how Neha had insulted them. The sisters confronted Neha, but she stood her ground and told them everything. Despite the humiliation, Ajay Rai and Anand Rai did not stop visiting Tarun's bungalow. The property dispute escalated day by day. Blinded by greed, they endured every insult, unwilling to give up. When persuasion failed, the brothers finally claimed, "Daughters have a right in their father's property too." Neha retorted, "I am not denying that, but you should claim your share from your father's property, not your mother-in-law's or aunt's property. This is completely unjust, and I will not let it happen. Tell me, in which law book is it written that sons-in-law have rights over their wife's aunt's property? Kunibai has willingly made Tarun the legal caretaker of her land. Why are you jealous now? If you had any claim, you should have spoken up when your father-in-law was alive. But now that he is gone, you are trying to seize his property." Neha's firm stance further fueled the brothers' hatred toward her. Greed had blinded them to morality, and they became desperate. Anand and Ajay finally devised a criminal plan. However, they hesitated to harm Tarun because Neha came from a powerful family. They knew she would not spare them if anything happened to Tarun. Instead, they decided to get rid of Neha. On January 30th, 2021, they found the perfect opportunity. Tarun was away in his village, and his younger brother, Indrajit, was also not home. Anand and Ajay, along with their nephew Deepak Sai Tode, reached Tarun's bungalow in Kamhadi around 9:30 p.m. At that time, Neha was playing with her daughter Ananya. When the doorbell rang, Ananya said, "Mummy, it must be Papa." Neha went to open the door. As soon as she saw them, she asked, "Is everything all right?" "Yes, everything is fine. Won't you invite us in?" Anand said with a smile. Neha stepped aside. "Come in," she said. They sat in the drawing room, chatting formally. Soon, the conversation shifted to property and money. Neha sensed their motives but remained composed. Suddenly, Deepak grabbed little Ananya and wrapped a shoelace around her neck. Neha, horrified, fought to save her daughter. Ajay and Anand held Neha down, and after a fierce struggle, they strangled her. Both Neha and her daughter died that night. To ensure they were dead, Deepak tightened the shoelace around Neha's neck once more. Then, they placed the bodies in the bathroom tub and checked for bubbles in the water. Once they were certain, they hid the bodies in a storage box in the bedroom. Their plan, however, unraveled when Neha's brother Akash grew suspicious. He repeatedly called Neha, but she never answered. Concerned, he and his younger sister drove to her bungalow at 11:30 p.m. Meanwhile, Ajay, who had left to dispose of the bodies, saw a crowd near the bungalow. Realizing their plan had failed, he fled the city. Despite his attempts to escape, the police tracked him down. On February 5th, 2021, all three accused were arrested and presented in court, where they were sent to jail.